The Eye by Rocco Kult and Penguin Magic is a hypervisual, freaky magic effect where you visibly remove your eye from your socket or pull money from behind your eye. It's perfect for spooky performers and it fits in your pocket. So let's go ahead and first do a live performance of The Eye.
There you go.
Here, let's leave it there, because I just point right there.
What do you get with the eye? When you purchase the eye from Penguin Magic, you receive everything you'll need to perform the effect, or the multiple effects. There's a bit of fine-tuning you'll have to do to make this fit your eye shape, but it doesn't take too long. You get your gimmick die that has multiple gimmicked features, but you'll also get a super cool gimmick that makes your eye look empty. And there's an extra special something that you can use to make the handling look even more clean. But I personally don't use it. Rocco has some alternatives that you could use, but I don't even think it's necessary if you do get the effect in a certain way. Also, a quick disclaimer, I had a chat with Rocco about the eye. Make sure you don't put the gimmick inside your eye, directly in your eye. Just make it look like it's going in your eye, because it looks very realistic. But just make sure the thing doesn't actually go in your eye so you don't scratch it. Rocco is a really great creator and is super friendly, so if you need any advice with this effect or if you have questions, you can message him on Instagram. What is the quality of the gimmick? The gimmicks are all super high quality. If it's your style, you could even perform Moneyball, a Nathan Kranzo trick with this, except with an eye instead of a bouncy ball. So you can take the quarter, give it a shake, and it turns into an eye, which is fun. The thing you put close to your eye, make sure it doesn't go inside. It comes oversized. You'll have to trim it to match your eye shape, and make sure you sand it so it's smooth after trimming and it doesn't scratch you. The fake eye is pretty good quality. It's quite red on the sides and it looks super realistic. I think everything here should last you a very long time as long as you take care of it. But make sure you don't drop the eye or anything like that. And it's great because it can fit in your pocket. The eye does come in a brown shade, so if you have super blue eyes, this probably won't work for you. The gimmick you get is made of a US quarter as well. And of course you get the tutorial. If you don't have brown eyes, you can still perform it if it's just a little bit different from brown. Like Rocco's eyes aren't completely brown, yet he still performs with this gimmick. And while this is super fooling, I really, really like the bulging version the most, where the eye bulges out, because the one where you completely remove it, I think in the back of someone's mind, they're always going to think, did that really come out? Can you really remove your eye? And that is the too perfect theory. So I really, really like the eye bulging out. You put it back in and you pull the quarter out, because that is super fooling and it leaves some room to question, did that really happen? And it's, in my opinion, my favorite routine on this project. It's super fooling. Now, how is the tutorial? The tutorial is pretty short. It's about 20 minutes long. Rocco's in the P3 Magic Studio and he teaches you multiple different handlings. 3, he teaches a coin from eye, eye to mouth, and just popping out the eye completely. He briefly talks about trimming the gimmick, but I think the tutorial should have been a little longer or more thorough, so he could cover really how to make the gimmick fit exactly to your eye shape, as well as some other details. Now, are there any lighting restrictions? Well, in certain lightings, like super bright light, the gimmick may shine a little bit. I talked to Rocco, he has ways to get around that, so feel free to message him about that. However, I don't think this should be an issue unless you have a super bright environment. For example, I'm in a place where there's lots of super bright light. So here, the gimmick would probably shine if I did the eye to mouth handling. This problem should never happen if you're doing just the eye bulge where you pull the coin out. There's no lighting restrictions for that, but any of the routines where you show your eye socket actually empty, you won't want to do it in super bright environments. Is this a social media or real life effect? I think depending on the type of performer you are or when you're performing this could work great for both social media and real life performances. What are the angles like? This depends on the routine you're using this for. If you're doing the eyeball out of socket or eyeball to mouth, for the eyeball out of socket, this is best performed straight on for maybe 1 or 2 people. And for those 1 or 2 people, it's super fooling. However, the eyeball out of socket and into mouth, the angles are about 130 degrees. So a lot better for those routines. Are there any live performances? There are live performances in the trailer and in the tutorial. Is this examinable? Well, at the end of the routine, if you do the eye to mouth and then the eye goes back to the socket, there's nothing to examine for that routine. If you do the coin from eye, the coin isn't examinable without a switch. You have to switch it, then hand it out. And you can't use any currency for that one. It has to be a US quarter. Let's talk about the difficulty and the practicality of this effect. This is not a hard trick to do. At first, there's a little bit of a knack to it, but once you get this down and once you customize everything to yourself, you're good to go. Rocco uses a small thing that he attaches to something else that makes this effect easier. But honestly, in my opinion, you don't even need it. You can do the routine without that small thing. In my personal opinion. I think the eye bulge with the quarter trick, again, is more fooling than the other one, but both of them are great. You'll have to put in quite a bit of practice to make this flow and go smoothly as well as Rocco. When Rocco does it, it looks so real. It looks so incredible. So you'll need to put in quite a bit of practice to get it to that level. But it's a really fun, disarming effect, especially for in between 2 more serious pieces. It's a great attention grabber. Maybe it could even work on kids. It's funny as well and very practical for close-up magic and walk around because you just pop it back in your pocket and it's reset. Is there any DIY? Yes. Initially, one of the gimmicks comes oversized, so you'll have to trim it and make sure you rub the sharp edges against a piece of paper or cloth or something like that to sand it, so you're not cutting your eyelids. That is a one-time setup, and once you've done it, you will have the gimmick for a very long time. The DIY will take you a few minutes, but be careful as you don't want to overcut the gimmick. If you overcut it, it won't work. So be careful. But if you do damage the gimmick somehow, message Rocco. He has an alternative to the gimmick that works great if you happen to break it. Also, keep in mind, you don't have to worry about the eye because the gimmick doesn't actually go inside your eye. Because even though it looks like it does in the trailer, it looks super convincing, but it's never actually going in your eye or touching your eye. So you won't get any bacteria or pink eye or anything like that. What is the pocket space required? The amazing thing about this is all you have to carry is the gimmicked eye and the one other thing. It takes up close to 0 pocket space. And this is a really interesting effect, but it's not for everyone. If you like spooky magic or something that is super memorable to throw into a card act, this is great. It spices up any other routine you do. It would probably go great with Stitch by Titanus as well, which I recently reviewed. Now, one thing with this that I want to mention is it could suffer from the too perfect theory. They know you're not really pulling the eye out, so they might guess that there's something else going on. And for that reason, I do prefer doing the routine where the eye bulges out and then you pull the coin out, or even just doing the eye bulge and it almost comes out, but it doesn't go fully out, and then you push it back in, because that leaves more of a gray area where it's like, did that really just happen? And that, in my opinion, is more fooling. In some instances, if you're a spooky performer, if you're dressed up as a shaman or something like that, and you just pull the eye out, people are going to believe it. It all depends on your character and your presentation, in my opinion. What is the reset like? This trick resets instantly. You can perform it over and over again. What is the price? This costs $40 US, and in my opinion, it's well worth the price if you like it. The gimmicks are high quality, and this is a really great effect. There are multiple different effects you can do with the eye. It's worth it because even for just the coin from eye handling, that I'm going to get mileage out of. It's super funny. You could throw it in as a gag, or it could even be performed on a more serious note. What are the pros and cons with this effect? The pros are, this is not too difficult. It's perfect for this time of year. It's super visual. It's safe to use. It resets instantly. There are multiple routines you can do with this. It's attention grabbing magic. The gimmicks are well made, good angles for the eye to mouth routine, or even if you do the eye bulge routine where you just bulge it out, then put it back in, you get good angles for that too. And it's super creative. The cons are, it only comes in brown eye color. I wish they included, I personally have brown eyes, but I wish they included an option where you can select either brown eyes or blue eyes. Also, you will have to trim this when you receive it. It doesn't come ready for your eye. Well, at least if you want to show your eye socket empty for the routine, you'll have to trim it. If you don't want to show your eye socket empty and you just want to do the eye bulge routine, you don't have to do anything. It comes ready to go. Also, I wish the tutorial was a bit more thorough or a bit longer, so they could have covered the do's and don'ts with this, and also how to trim it properly so it fits your eye, because I don't think it was mentioned too much. It was mentioned maybe 1 or 2 times, but I wish they could have had a segment for the tutorial to go through that part. Also, the coin from eye routine is a little bit more angly, and the coin isn't examinable immediately after the routine. I have done this quite a few times. As you could see earlier, I did a live performance of this, and people don't ask to examine the coin, but that's just one thing I wanted to be a bit nitpicky about. Also, it can suffer from the too perfect theory if it is presented wrong. That's why I perform this. If I do the routine where I show the eye socket empty, I only let them see the eye socket for a second or two, so they barely have time to process what just happened until after it's done, at which point they'll be like, wait, what just happened? Did your eye just come out of the socket? But what percent am I giving this? I like this a lot. It's perfect for this time of year, especially the coin from eye. I'm giving the Eye by Rocco Kult an 87%. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.